and we are excited tonight because we're going to talk about the Barbie movie. My girlfriend, Deb Green, had originally told me about it, and I said, why would I want to watch it? And she said, oh my God, Pat, it's just so great. You need to watch it. My granddaughter and my daughter-in-law and I have watched it, and on and on. And I'm going, I didn't play with Barbies, and I didn't get what it was about, but I keep hearing about it. So then we had this conversation at Anne Marie's place, and it's a lot about the Barbie. And so it was really interesting to contemplate having a time here to discuss the Barbie movie. And we have 3 panelists. We thought we were going to have 4, but Geraldine has a serious migraine and she thinks she has COVID. So Anna, thank you for joining us. We're glad you're here. And I'm going to ask, we have Jean Ketchum, who is our leader here at Aging But Dangerous. And Jeannie is in the process of writing a book. And as you all know, she just did the calendar, the Tastefully Nude calendar. And she's been busy out talking about that and speaking at various places. And then we have Anne Marie Keene, who is the owner of the Zebra House, where we had an event recently that some of you attended. And oops, we got an iPad joining us. Let's see who it is. Did you let them in, Jeannie?
What?
Did you?
No, they haven't.
They have to come back. Okay. Oh, there she is. There's the iPad lady. Hello. So at any rate, we have Anne Marie Keene, and then our other speaker we lost. Oh, there she is, Kayla.
I'm here.
There's Kayla. We met Kayla at Anne Marie's, and Kayla brings a whole different perspective of the Barbie movie, and so I'm really excited to know how you saw it and what you took away from it. So
definitely Anne Marie's reaction alone last night when we rewatched it again, I would say things and she would tell Michael, she'd be like, pause the movie and explain to me what you just said right now.
Okay, let's not get started on it yet. I want to be, I'm really getting into this. I really got to know this.
Okay, so the first question I have for the audience, and I'd like you to put it in the chat, is have you actually seen the Barbie movie? Okay, and if you just go into the chat and put that in, we'd love to know that. Okay, and then the second is, as you answer that, if it's more than once, let us know how many times you've seen it. Okay, and the third one is, did you play with Barbies when you were little? I didn't, but
well, we will not divulge that yet. Pat.
Okay. All right. So Jeannie, you have something to say. I am so surprised, but take it away.
Okay. So I had not seen the movie, and I got up at 5 o'clock this morning and watched it on my Amazon Prime. I had a distinct reaction to it, but I want to hear what the rest of you have to say about it. Anne Marie, what'd you think about it?
I think it was very good. What I like the best about it is how many people it brought together.
And what do you mean by that?
The movie was good, but just the hype, and it just brought people together, you know, grandmas and sisters and daughters and husbands and brothers. Everyone was going to it. And so I like how it brought people together, and it was really well done and comical. It was funny, and you know, the main story is just be yourself, worry about yourself, and not everyone else.
What about you, Kayla?
I have so many thoughts on the Barbie movie. First of all, I have to apologize for Anne Marie because it took twice as long to watch it last night at her house because I hit the play and pause button so many times. I think for me, it's super interesting to talk to people older than me to see what their take on it, because I think I gathered something completely different. but like it's because I grew up playing with Barbies, so it comes from like a different perspective of what that actually meant as a kid and like what the movie is transpiring to like portray between like
Well,
Barbie Land and the real world. Does that make
so what'd you
sense?
take? Yeah, what'd you take away?
But like Barbie Land is basically like child land. It's like whatever you want. It's all for you. It's like Disneyland for a little girl and you make your Barbie world because it's your Barbies. But then when Barbie leaves and when her body starts changing and she has to go out in the real world and she has to be a real human being, that's when she starts to realize how real life actually is, how men actually look at her. It's not the dream world that she grew up thinking it was. Like I took something totally different out of it.
How old are you? Can you tell us, Kayla?
27.
Okay, yeah, that is different. I mean, that's young. Okay, Tammy, what about you? What'd you take away?
I saw it last Tuesday, Halloween night, with my husband. There's still people going to the real theater for it instead of their couches. And I appreciated that there was a good balance. I liked the two different worlds. I was kind of just, and you're right. If you're playing with Barbies and it's a Barbie world and kind of like, yeah, I'm only something if Barbie's there.
Right.
And
He's a yes man.
yeah, and it's like, yeah, we actually have the interesting, so I didn't have as many Barbies as my husband does because he
Oh,
came with literally a dresser that has a whole drawer of
oh my
Barbies and Kens.
gosh,
So
that is amazing.
What a
yeah,
cute-
so
Tell
but
us more about that, please.
Yeah, did he
well,
play with
and
them?
yeah, we literally take out a whole dresser drawer and put it on the living room couch or on the living room floor for the granddaughters to play with,
Oh
and
my,
sometimes the grandson. But
oh
his
my
daughters
goodness.
both, his two daughters are in their 30s, and let's say, one's in their 30s and the other one's like 29. And she, I think that she was more of into the Kens, type of thing. But, one is more feminine, one is more, I am who I am, and I don't care what you think. I identify more with Ken, so deal with it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I liked the fact that there was the two different worlds, and sadly, yes, there is the impression that Barbie was created by men. I what is it? Megan Trainor has the song about Victoria's Secret, which was created by which is not a secret, and it was created by a guy. Yeah, yeah. But it was interesting to see. Hold it, but you don't look like me, and it's like, you're my creator. So I appreciated the fact that nobody looks like you. Nobody looks like Barbie, with the exception of Anne Marie and Kayla, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
There's very few exceptions in the real world, which I appreciate that Anne Marie created a home for herself in her own Barbie world and Barbie car.
Yeah.
Barbie booths.
Well,
I saw
Tammy,
those and just laughed.
okay,
And I went,
Tammy,
that's it.
what did your husband think about it?
He really liked it.
That's so good.
He said it was a really good message and really appreciated, the concept and the thoughtfulness, and how challenging it is for women in a man's world. And so, which is why he's my second husband, because he thinks about these things.
Yeah, good for
He's
you.
smart. He's
Good for
intelligent.
you. Okay,
He didn't
Leah,
have
what
an
about
emotional
you?
response.
What did you take away?
Leah hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear my name. No, I did not see the movie.
Oh, okay.
Did
When are
you
you
play
gonna
with
see it?
Barbies, Leah?
Sorry. Yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Okay.
Hey,
And
Anna, what about you? What'd you think?
Well, I liked it a lot. And no, I didn't never play with Barbies because they didn't come out until after I was done playing with dolls. But I think to reiterate what someone else said earlier, I think it's a great intergenerational piece. When my granddaughter, who's 15, came to visit this summer, she insisted that she and I and her other grandma go see it. And we did. The theater was packed. There were people there of every single age. And both sexes. It was inspiring just to see the number of people in the theater, that there were so many of them and that they were all different ages. So I think just to say that about the movie, that it can cross all generations and everybody has something to say about it, whether you liked it or not. Everybody has something to say. I liked what you said, Kayla, about it being your own little playground, like going to Disneyland. I never thought about playing with Barbies that way.
I think my experience with Barbies might be, I don't know, it was very different because I didn't have a sister originally. Like, my sister is 3 years younger than me. So my dad tells me stories. My dad adopted me when I was 6 months old. So my dad tells me stories about how he used to play with my Barbies with me until my sister could, because that's all I wanted was for somebody to play in like Barbie Dreamland with me. And so
Right.
like I get the perspective from my dad as like, it was you, it was your world. So when I seen it on TV and then I realized that was other people's like POV, I think it does kind of hinder people from what the actual truth of reality is, especially as a girl. I had my dad doing whatever I wanted playing Barbies. And then when I got in the real world and these men were like, haha, I'm in charge. What are you talking about? And I'm like, wait, no, no, absolutely not. I still act like that every day. Like, it's terrible.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What's your name with the iPad?
Oh, my name is Sharon.
Sharon.
Yes.
Hi. What
Hi.
was your take on it?
Well, I'm 80 and a half, as the young people, the little babies say. I'm 80 and a half. And I went to see it with my daughter, who's 51. I did not have Barbies. I think that was after my time.
Yeah.
But my daughter had a couple. She was never enamored with them, but she did have them. We went together. We both wore pink shirts, and we have a great picture of the two of us getting ready to have fun. And we loved it. We just loved it. We kept looking at each other and smirking and laughing, and we just had a great time. And it wasn't the beer and the pizza that we had at the theater. It was just a really fun movie. And there were so many places that as a senior, I could identify, I could remember things that triggered. And what was interesting to me is I have two friends who are in their late 80s, and I was so excited about the film. I was like, oh, you guys have got to see it. It's so much fun, blah, blah, blah. And so I arranged for the three of us to go together, and it fell completely flat for them. And I found that very interesting. First of all, they never had girls, they just had boys. So Barbies were not a thing for them. And I don't know. I'm seeing one of them tomorrow, so I'm going to ask her more about her lack of enthusiasm, but I'll term that differently. I just thought it was interesting because my daughter and I were just totally pumped about it. We just thought it was just delightful and also meaningful. Some of those conversations and narratives were really, really strong. And I've lived long enough to recognize a lot of the dynamics that were in that movie. So yeah. I liked it. I thought it was terrific. I would see it again. Not right now, but I would see it again someday.
So yeah. Anne Marie, what did you think?
I think you did me second, honey.
Yeah, she's already talked.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm the only one that has not talked.
I'm trying to hear.
And I told Pat I'm just not going to be negative tonight. I'm going to be nice, but I'll be 84 in 2 months. And of course, I didn't play with Barbies because you're right, Sharon. You know, I think it was like before us. But my daughter, I have a wonderful Barbie story because Michelle we have an only child, and she was born when I was 30. And when she was or I was 27, but when she was 3 years old, my husband had lost his job. We lived in Davenport, Iowa. We didn't have any money. I mean, it was just a horrible time, as we all have experienced in our various lives, I'm sure. But we didn't have money for Christmas. We went down and we, cut down a Christmas tree, came back and decorated it like they do in the movies, popcorn and, and all that stuff. She doesn't even remember this, but I went out and I opened up a bank account for $50, and to open up that bank account, you got a free Barbie doll.
Oh,
And Michelle was never really that interested in dolls or anything, but anyway, so I got this free Barbie doll, and then I went around to all my neighbors and asked them if they had any little scraps of fabric, and I had a sewing machine, and I got myself some Barbie patterns, and I had so much fun. I mean, I spent from September to Christmas making these little Barbie doll clothes. And I mean, I made the little purses, the little handbags, the little everything. It was so much fun.
wow.
And my parents got her a Barbie, I don't know, some little thing. Our neighbors got her a little Barbie car, but that was like, that just saved us. I will always be grateful to Barbie for that experience, because it really was a nice experience. She played with Barbies until she was about 5, and then that was it. But I remember when she was like 10 or 11. I mean, she's now 57. So, but she went out to babysit to these neighbors when she was like 11 years old or something, 12. And she came back and she said, "Oh, I just had the funnest night tonight." And I said, "You did? What'd you do?" And she said, "We played with Barbies. It was so much fun." So I don't know what she would think of the movie, but I honestly, I just feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone, because I'm the only person I know, except one other person, that feels this way. I didn't think it was that well done. I got the message, but I think the message could have been done much quicker and less. I thought it was really, and I don't want to be just so awful here, but I just think it was kind of corny and kind of like, I mean, I had to really suffer to get through it this morning. Now, if I was in a movie theater and all this stuff was going on and a full house and everything, I might have had a different experience. Sitting here at 5 o'clock in the morning, watching it on Amazon, I had a hard time keeping my attention. Certainly not against Barbie at all, but I just didn't, I don't know. I didn't think it was that well done, you guys. I don't know. Just my feeling on it. I had a hard time getting through it, but.
Well, it was corny, Jean. It was a satire on everything.
Yeah, I know. I know, Anna, and I feel bad that I don't, that I didn't enjoy it more, but because everybody else has, and I'm so glad, because I mean, I talked to somebody the other day that's seen it like 3 times, and I think it goes from, I mean, Kayla, here you are really young, and here, Sharon is 80.
It's not the best Barbie movie. Like, I grew up with, that's the other thing, is like, I grew up with like actual Barbie movies. Like, they were cartoons, like Barbie and the Nutcracker, like Barbie Swan Lake. Like, they were cartoons, but they looked more like Barbies. And Margaret Robbie looks exactly what you would think Barbie would look like. So at least they picked someone who emanates that, like, the best that they could. But I think, I don't know. I thought there was some, I don't think it was a satire that was weird to me. I think there was some things that were just like off. Like, I don't know if anyone noticed, but like in Barbie Land, there's no water except for when they're taking a shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like there's no real ocean. The pool that they're standing on has no water, but then when they take a shower, there's water.
Oh, there was no water when they turned the shower on.
Yeah, there was. When she first took a shower, they were like, "Oh, it's cold."
I don't
Yeah, but she was pretending.
Oh,
there was no water actually came out.
I was trying to figure that out for the longest time because there's no water in Barbie Land.
She was pretending.
Yeah, that's all pretend.
I was like, no, because it shows that there's no water anywhere. So I spent like an hour trying to figure that out. I'm like, how does this make sense? And like, how are we pretending that there's no water? Okay, and then why is there a pregnant Barbie, but there's no kids anywhere?
Yeah.
Well,
Because
because they threw
no
her,
Barbie would ever want to
because
go
they
through
threw
Because
her
it's a
childbirth.
away
kid's
before she
dreamland.
had them.
That like little girls
Tammy.
dream about getting pregnant, but they don't dream about actually taking care of kids. Like it is a dreamland. There is no actual like bad things happening.
Right.
Tammy, what do you want
No
to say?
consequences.
I noticed that too, Kayla. It's like, there's no water. We have to pretend. It's like, oh yeah, we had to
There's
pretend.
a pregnant girl with no baby. And then when Will Ferrell comes around the corner, he's like, oh, you scared me. I thought we discontinued you. And I'm like,
And they did. They did.
that's scary. Are
So-
men repulsed by pregnant women? Do they scare them?
Yeah.
So Jean, I would agree with your point. I made a conscious choice last week to see it in the, there was different places we could have seen it, including on our couch. And I thought, it's a 2-hour movie. It's going to be incredibly campy. And I'm going to hate it if I sit on my couch, and we're going to keep getting up, getting popcorn, drinking, whatever. And I thought, I'm going to go to the theater. But one of the things that Anne Marie alluded to, though, too, and some of us had been to a few different movies, but that weekend when Barbie opened, there was one other movie, and I can't remember what it was called,
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. Yeah, so we saw that one too. But that was the first time in literally years that theaters had really opened up and
Yes.
brought people out. And it's like, even, with COVID and everything, and it's like theaters had been closed for so long, or just sporadically. That was the big opening. And I would, to Anne Marie's point, that brought people out for the first time in like a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on a Zoom call, and how many people saw this movie, but there's only 8 of us here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It
Right.
brought people out, got them out of the house. And for a while, there was just sunshine, pink, and generations came out to
Yeah.
see it, whether it was good or bad.
Well,
Right.
and during
Come
the
with some luck.
recession, Barbie like helped the economy. Barbie rose
Yeah.
stock for certain companies. Barbie made people money. Barbie made people side jobs. Me and Anne Marie were busy for a whole month.
Yeah.
Well, and they're gonna do 7
month.
more.
7 more?
Pat,
7 more.
Pat, what's
7
your
more
reaction?
movies? 7 more movies?
Yep, it's gonna make
Yeah,
them
I
a
probably
ton of
won't
money.
do those. I think it was just the first one that was so delightful.
I think they're gonna make at least 2 or 3 more. I think it's gonna be like a Shrek.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Trish,
Pat, what do
That
you think?
The Mattel stock soared.
Yes,
They
the
could
material,
make like
yeah.
5 movies off of how much they equivalated from it. Like as far as like economics went for Barbie, anyone who pays attention to like dip-ins and stuff, certain companies that signed, there was only like 30 official companies that signed to have official Mattel merch instead of just Barbie merch, but they made so much money. And their stuff will become collector's items, which will end up making even more money.
Yeah.
It's so
Absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah. It is a good business piece. You're absolutely correct. There's a lot of business to it.
Okay,
So-
Pat.
So crazy. I mean, I was wondering if they were going to come out with the Ken toys now, because remember when they came out with like the Ken Dream House and everything? I'm
Uh-huh.
like, let's stand back and see if they're going to do a Ken Dream House after that. Like, is that something that people would be interested in now?
Yeah, well, we'll
I
see.
had an interesting thought in watching it, because from being a pretty active feminist during the 80s, I really objected to Barbie. Totally. And watching that movie gave me a different perspective, in that, because the only kind of dolls that I ever grew up with were bride dolls and baby dolls. Those were the only options open to me, period. Regardless of Barbie's body, and I know there's a ton of issues around body image, even though Ruth created her, apparently, not a pile of men. But it gave young girls an opportunity to look at something other than being a homemaker and a mother. And I think that's really valuable. And I think that's a piece that I really didn't even think about until I watched the movie with my granddaughter.
Mhm.
So it has, you know, she does have some redeeming qualities.
I mean, Barbie dolls are much better than Bratz dolls. So I'm obviously the youngest in the group. So I'll speak on Bratz dolls.
What's
Bratz
that?
dolls
It's what?
proportions are much worse. Their body image problems that they're creating are much more, and you're watching them play out in everyday fads. Barbie dolls have huge lips, or Bratz dolls have huge lips, giant shoes, much skinnier waist, much bigger bust, much different. It's even worse than the Barbie doll. And I grew up having Barbie dolls until I was like 13, and then I had Bratz dolls, and Bratz dolls were like the adult version of Barbie dolls, but they caused probably way more problems than Barbie dolls did.
Oh.
I still know a lot of girls who don't think that they are pretty because they grew up playing with Bratz dolls, and they don't. Barbie looks like a human. Bratz dolls look like a cartoon.
Wow.
It's like, have you seen the LOL dolls that are on the shelves now for little kids?
Mm-mm.
Scary. Even the outfits that they put them in, they're scary. And
Wow.
they're marketed for 8-year-old girls. I refuse to buy them for my nieces.
So I have a quick question. Does everyone know who Ruth based the Barbie off of?
No, tell us.
It was a German doll, and it was
I have it
Kayla,
written.
yeah, do you mind?
So, yeah, I wrote down the whole paragraph. So me and Anne Marie paused it and started looking up like what the initial like, I don't know, like inspiration for Barbie was. So it came from a doll from Germany that in the 60s that was actually marketed for basically like sexual pleasure of men, or like sexual appearance of pleasure
A
for men.
blow up doll?
No, like
No.
an actual doll, like a
An
handheld
actual
doll.
doll.
And
Okay.
her name was Lily. And what happened is Mattel ended up going to court with them outside of court and settling $21,000 for the doll patent, basically, because they sued them over it being exactly the same or way too
Wow.
similar. But what we found that was weird when we studied
Okay,
it.
this
She's
is
got the
Lily.
so
Oh,
Lily.
interesting.
So here's back to that dysmorphia of body that the dolls
Yep.
have been causing.
Yep.
When we looked about Lily in comparison to Barbie, Barbie comes in 2 different hair colors and 1 size. Lily came in 2 different sizes with the same hair color.
Oh,
Isn't that crazy? I thought
Yeah.
that was something. Like me, I was like, I looked at Anne Marie and I said, I hate this place sometimes. And then I just let it go.
okay,
Well,
Pat,
it's not
we've
much
not heard
different
from
than
you.
Twiggy in the late 60s.
They made a Barbie out of her, yeah.
Yeah.
She was the first. She was actually the first celebrity that they ever made a Barbie out of was Twiggy.
Really?
Fact. Yep, that's a fact.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Jeannie, I said at the very beginning I didn't like it when I
Yeah.
watched
Why
it
didn't you like it?
because I didn't get it. It didn't make sense. It was like, I don't get this, but then I didn't realize the things that you guys are talking about. Like we're in a playland. Okay. I didn't realize that that's where we were. I finally, at the end where she had to go to the gynecologist, I finally got that part.
Yeah,
You
that
know.
was funny. That
But
was
I'm going,
hilarious.
I'm
It took Anne Marie a few seconds to do that one.
Pat, I love you.
I just didn't get it. You know, I
Well,
didn't grow up with dolls. I grew up, and to the point, Anna, that you were making is that I would get a bride doll. I got a bride doll. I had one of those, and I had a baby doll.
What's a
Those
bride
two.
doll?
It's
it's a
comes
doll
with
that's
a bride
dressed like a
dress.
bride.
Okay.
Yeah, bridal gown, and you spend all your time doing weddings.
Yeah.
We get no, I've never seen a bride. I don't think I've seen a bridal doll unless it was like a special edition doll ever growing up. That's so crazy that
Bridal doll
Yeah.
for kids?
Yeah, to buy, and then they actually walk, the moves,
Yeah.
the legs moved and everything. Yeah,
Walking
I have.
dolls. Yep.
In fact, I had a little sister who passed away, and my mother had saved her doll that was the bride doll, and I just recently gave it to my granddaughter. So as a memorial thing.
I would have
Yeah.
never even known about that.
Yeah, yeah, but it's
Well,
yeah, it really
yeah.
left me kind of wondering what on earth was going on.
yeah.
So
I just love the whole satire. I
Yeah, let
mean,
me see
even
one.
the way the
Yeah,
guys
those kind of
dress.
bride dolls.
I
Mhm.
want one now.
Oh, yeah, Anne Marie, yeah.
I don't have
Huh.
one of those. I need one of those.
Well, I never played with dolls, and Michelle only had the Barbie doll. She didn't play with dolls after Barbie. So that, maybe that's why I have a harder time relating. I don't know. But no, it's not that I have trouble relating to Barbie, because I like Barbie. I like all the everything about her. It's not that. It's just I didn't think the movie was that well done. It wasn't the Barbie thing that I didn't like, because I think Barbie has been great for all kinds of generations. And like I said, she saved my life, when my daughter was 2 years old or 3. So I have never, in fact, I just found the patterns the other day, Pat. Remember, I showed them to you?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
found they were packed away, the little doll pattern, Barbie doll patterns. They're so cute. And I just got a little twinge. So it wasn't that I was against Barbie or anything. I just the movie didn't do anything for me. So it wasn't
When
because
I think it's too bad you saw it at 5 in the morning on your couch.
Yeah.
I think if you'd seen it full screen in the theater with
Yeah.
everybody else kind of getting in the mood and celebrating whatever was going on, you might have had a whole different take on it. Because
and it wasn't even sitting on the couch. It was sitting in my office at the desk on my computer.
wrong.
Not
dark
fun.
out, and
Not even
yeah.
a glass of wine.
Not even a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wrong,
I
wrong.
was like ready for it to get over with. I was like, okay, enough of this. I was just so ready. But yeah, like I say, it's nothing against Barbie or the Barbie doll or anything like that. But and I understood the whole message, and I thought the message was good. I just thought, but like I say, I mean, I shouldn't even be talking, because I'm like probably not even 1% of the population that feels that way. So I keep my mouth shut.
As a mother with a daughter, I relate to what Anna was saying about women's liberation and all that kind of stuff, because I can remember resisting buying a Barbie doll for my daughter based on that. I did not want to encourage that kind of focus on sexuality and all of those pieces, because I didn't want her to think that. But and she's fine, and her kids had Barbie dolls, and they had the Brat dolls. I remember those, Kayla. And
Those brat dolls are terrible for self-esteem.
Yeah, but
that's interesting, because I was a hardcore follower of Gloria Steinem, and I never thought anything about I remember when Michelle was born, I was in the hospital, and that was, Gloria Steinem is probably 4 years older than I was. And that was like right when when her movement was starting. And boy, I was just like right in there. And I had this daughter, and I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to be out there. She's going to be doing all this stuff. And then, then I thought, oh my gosh, what if she wants to run for Miss America or something? What would I do? And then I thought, well, I would support her, whatever she wants to do. But I was right into that. And I never, ever gave it a second thought about that. So that's interesting that you would say that. I never, ever connected it to anything.
Well, there was a lot of talk about the messages that the dolls were giving at that point in time.
Yeah, and see, that was you're younger, so that
I know I'm much younger, Jeannie.
Well, no, but I didn't run across that at my age.
So it's interesting. There's 10 years difference between my sister and I. My mother was pregnant 9 times in 10 years. I did not play with Barbies, but the 2 older girls did, and the middle daughter, my sister Julie, did, but she always wanted a new Barbie, and she never got a new Barbie. And then I didn't play with them at all.
Wow.
I wonder, is this movement, I was born in 1970.
That would be
my sister was born in 1960. And so they had Barbies, and I'm sure my mom was a part of me not having Barbies.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course.
I mean, I was a total tomboy. I was boy crazy at a very young age.
That's
I
right.
liked, riding the go-karts and the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the mini bikes and motorcycles, and that's what I love doing today still. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna let my dog in. And Anna, I love your picture, your painting behind you.
Yeah, it looks
Oh.
so cool.
Thank you.
I was waiting for you to say something, Anne, because I've been staring at it for the whole time now.
Yeah.
I just think that, it gave such a succinct satirical clip on society's view of male and female relationships, paternalistic attitudes in business. I mean, I thought it was a gas. I would watch it again.
Will Ferrell is great.
I'm with you, Anna. I just thought it was just exactly that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I think Will Ferrell
After this
needs to be in every Barbie
conversation,
movie.
Well,
after this conversation, I would be open to it because I would have a different look of a different perception of
Well,
how to
yeah.
look at it.
And I would
I
say
Barbie is
90%
making fun of
of
that
the
a
people
lot.
that I have talked to feel the same way you do, Sharon and Anna. I just, 90% of the people feel that way. So I think that's good. I mean, I think it's a good thing. I have been talking to all kinds of people that feel the same way. So it's
Yeah,
great.
I didn't like it originally.
I don't think it did any harm.
no.
It's like,
Oh, I don't think it did either.
no, and it got people into the theater. It got people engaged in conversation. It got people to laugh and have fun and smile. And I just thought it was great.
And
Yeah.
it got
The
me a
other thing
really
that I
nice
think it
looking
did
white
is
Corvette.
it created a way for young women and older women to communicate, just like we're doing right here, right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Anne Marie and Kayla and Jean and I and those of you that are in the middle there in terms of ages, where else would we have a conversation like this?
Right.
About what?
yeah, exactly. I want to go to Anne Marie and ask since you just said you really didn't have Barbies and you have a lot of activity around Barbie right now in your life. How did this happen?
Yeah, so I didn't play with Barbie. I didn't want to play with Barbies is what I recall, but I'm not sure exactly why I didn't or if I had any. But my sister told me that I'd like to be on the, outside. I was very, very much a tomboy, but I remembered the dolls, like my aunt, you would go into her living room and she would just have all these porcelain dolls. So that kind of creeped me out. So I wasn't a big doll fan either. So I guess I just didn't like that. But then my parents passed and I just got my certification as an end of life doula. So I'm very, very excited about that. But my parents passed and my sister is a church secretary. And this gal, her brother had passed away and they built Barbie dioramas and collected Barbies. So long story short, I ended up with a lot of his Barbies from his home in Freedom, Wisconsin, and filled a complete SUV full of them. And now I make Barbie dioramas. So I mimic people's lives. So I've made them for, a gal in the office, the red uniform, where they look almost just like the real person.
Oh my gosh.
Me and Anne became friends because I cleaned out the Barbie closet.
Yeah.
And I sorted all the Barbies for about 7 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I kind of feel like I'm playing with Barbies, but real life Barbies.
You are playing with Barbies.
Yeah. And a big house, the house, like even changing it, it's like, it's a big diorama,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What a
Interesting.
very cool thing to do.
Yeah.
yeah. And then I had a black and white Corvette that we wrapped it pink and white. And it's a 1960 Corvette convertible. And the joy that car has brought to people.
Okay.
And the movie theater, we rented out the White Bear Lake movie theater and it sold out. and we kept getting extra space. It kept selling out. And as people were lined up to get their pictures taken in front of that car, I mean, grandmas, and it was just so touching. It brings like just so much happiness to me.
Well, that car, I mean, that is fabulous. That's what I thought about, Anne Marie, when I saw the movie. I thought, oh my gosh, there's that car. Your car is exactly like that. I mean, that is such a great thing that you're sharing. And gosh, that's wonderful what you're doing with those Barbies. I think that is just so fabulous. You know.
Thank you. And then I have the bird Barbie. So I have some that are worth like $600 and then others that are not, but I have a lot of them in the box. I think at some point I need to sell them. I don't think my daughter will like to keep all these Barbies because they take up
doing end of life dioramas.
What
you do for people by doing an end of life diorama using Barbies. That's totally unique and very, very special.
Yeah, thank you. I'll try to share them somehow, because I even have the little trinkets my mom had on her windowsill are in the Barbie diorama. And there's like a deer head. It has their wedding picture, my family picture. It's really cool. So thank you.
Yeah, I have to sign off. I'm sorry, but it was nice,
Sharon. Nice
meeting all of you. And it was
Bye,
fun.
Sharon. Join us again.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
So Leah, I have to ask if you've now been inspired to go see the Barbie movie.
Yeah, well, now if it's on Amazon Prime, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will see. I just don't. I'm one of these. I don't really like going to theaters.
Uh-huh.
It's just I'd rather be in my house and not be. I don't know. I just don't like going to the theater. So,
yeah. I have to admit, I originally didn't like it, but as we're driving home, my husband went and said, he made some points that I totally changed my mind, because yes, the camping Barbie changed. Barbie just wasn't just one or two figures. Yes, she was one figure, but there was the camping Barbie, there was the rollerblading Barbie, not just the baby bathing suit Barbie. But he pointed out too, I mean, there was the lawyer Barbie, the doctor Barbie, the professionalism. It's like, oh, I hadn't even noticed that, all the different accessories that they put out, but she changed and we changed.
I think that's phenomenal about your husband. My gosh, that is so
I think he's
great.
a keeper.
Yeah, he must
I think
be
so
really
too.
special.
Most guys can say to me is, do you know you look like Barbie? And I'm like, whoa!
When you can see that there's something more to me than looking like Barbie. Yeah.
All
Just
right.
so long as they don't act like Ken.
They do. They're not very. I hate to break it to you all, but the ones my age range are very difficult. That's why I found this movie so entertaining. I was trying to understand why we modeled Ken after Rocky Balboa. Why that was our masculine choice of man, because open feather, the Adidas high tops, that's Rocky Balboa. So I was wondering why that happened, but I mean, at the same time, Ken all of a sudden looked like he was like a really nice guy, and then he looked like he was on steroids walking around in a coat. So I don't know. It was crazy.
In our society,
was crazy.
Yeah, that's actually what they did to Ken.
With that much testosterone's got to be the real man, right?
Oh my God.
Didn't they change the shape of Ken because there was the G.I. Joe and they made him look more like a G.I. Joe at some point?
I read that.
They remodeled it.
I read that Ruth's last change to the Barbie doll before she was signed off Mattel, she did 3 years before they signed her off because of the IRS problems. And it was, she moved the positions of her eyes. So Barbie used to look sideways, I guess, and now she looks front forward. That was the last change that she made.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
So Kayla, from the story of Ruth, did she have sole control over what she did with that? Was that how it worked for her?
It sounded like to an extent she was very much in control of like the patent of Barbie until they took her off, which makes me wonder if they found a reason to take her off intentionally because they didn't want her to have that much power.
Yeah.
Could be.
You know that because I don't know, when you go from
Yeah.
having no money and then you have some money, you'd be smart enough to get an accountant at that point when you have a Barbie stock that you
Yeah.
run. I don't know.
thought
I
one of
think
the
that's
things I
interesting.
remember from the movie is how that group of men from Mattel kept always together.
They're
you
like
know?
a herd of penguins.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
I loved it. I was laughing because who's got a card? Who's got a card? Like I've been around groups of men probably more than other women for long periods of time. And sometimes that's what it's like. So I found it extremely entertaining. I know men that tell me that they don't know how to cook a steak other than in the microwave. Like I'm so serious. They're just
Oh my God.
when he was like rollerblade faster, I'm like, I don't they have one leader and then like 30 followers. And like it was a very good representation of that, I think. And then what did that one guy say, Anne Marie? I wrote it down. He said, I'm a man with no say. Does that make me a woman?
Right,
Do
right.
you remember
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
Yeah, I
was like-
remember that. Yeah. I'm a man with
So
no
is
say.
a follower man is equivalent to a woman in the alpha's eyes.
Mhm.
That's what
So-
I took out of that.
Let me read. It says Barbie's design was modeled after the Bill Lilly doll, which was created in the image of a German comic strip character.
Well, and then the Lily doll ended up coming from the figure and look of a local lady of the night in Germany.
Yes. Yes.
So the Lily doll's design came from a hooker.
Right.
Yeah. That's what it says online. We wrote it down.
Yeah.
And when you guys look at the doll, she
And they
looks
changed the
identical to
marketing when they
Barbie.
did it in America. The marketing in America, I wrote it down. It says teenage fashion model Barbie. They took a doll in Germany and Europe that was being used sexually to sell to men and used it to sell to little girls in America. So you guys are right. A lot of people were missing the sexual undertones that were originally happening when Barbie came out. So the feminism movement that everyone went through of not buying it, it was because people's point of view was changing on Barbie because they started to realize that just like Victoria's Secret and everything else, that it was run by men and that there was something weird. Just like I was watching a documentary on Shirley Temple today and how Shirley Temple like helped found Hollywood. And then I was watching clips of Shirley Temple and I grew up watching Shirley Temple and I started getting really uncomfortable watching it as an adult. Because I actually started to realize what it was built on, and it was different, not the
Oh,
same.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are 8 minutes away from the top of the hour. Any kind of final things anyone wants to share about this whole Barbie experience?
I just want to share, keep doing Aging But Dangerous. It has been such a blessing meeting each of you, here and through Jean and Annie, and I love what you guys are doing. So thank you. And thanks for including Kayla and I.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
We're
always
honored.
welcome.
Thank you.
I
We
will
all,
just say,
we all, I think, are grateful for each other. And
Yes.
yeah,
as we know, we come into each other's life at the right time, and that's
Yeah.
what's happened here. So
Besides, maybe one of you younger women can teach me how to put on false eyelashes.
I can
I'm
do
all
it with
thumbs.
these long fingernails, Anne. I bet you I can teach you.
Can teach
I
all of
bet
us.
you
I
can.
can't do it worth shit.
I've been wearing these eyelashes since I was 16 when I was a cheerleader. So
Oh
I
my
think I
God.
can teach you.
I gotta find a glue I'm not allergic to. But I have to say, going to the Zebra House with Anne Marie at Anne Marie's place and the car, I'm glad that I didn't go to the Barbie movie until after I had that experience with you ladies. Because it just gave me a new pink experience and just, the boots, the the pink, the car, it just, you guys just really made it so much more of a real experience for me.
Good, good.
That's awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
love that. Yeah, when we did the theater, we honestly had so much fun. I was giving out Barbie dolls to little girls dressed as a Barbie and checking them into the Barbie movie for Anne Marie, and they were taking pictures with me, and it was crazy, and it was very different. It was awesome. I've enjoyed the whole Barbie experience. I've been so busy being Barbie this year. I don't know what I'm gonna do next year.
Well,
I've been
that
hired
does,
as Barbie
that does sound
so
like
many
fun.
times this year. I don't know anymore. I
Okay.
just
But what fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
this sounds like fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I-
guys, thank you so much.
Thank
Uh,
you.
So next week we're
thank
somewhere,
you.
next
Pardon?
week we go somewhere?
I'm sorry, next week it is for in Minnesota, it's a night at the brewery. And you get to dress up
Oh,
in
yes.
theme clothes for a Renaissance time. So you could
Oh.
come as maid Barbie, you know, like a maid from the
Like a
King's
barmaid.
Castle. Yeah. You can
Very
do
good for you.
whatever. Miss
Ooh, let's
Anna
be
has
barmaids.
Miss Anna has her
Pretty
Renaissance
good for you.
outfit on the flyer. So there's
Which is
a lot of
phenomenal.
opportunity here to dress up, and you could be you come in a suit of armor if you want. So you get to decide, but we'll have a night at the brewery.
So Anna, do you have Renaissance apparel?
Yes, I do.
Oh, awesome. I love that. I'd love to see it.
Well, come to the evening at
Yes.
the brewery and
Yeah.
I'll bring an
look at
extra
this
hat
next
for
week.
anybody that doesn't have a hat.
I don't think
Good.
I have a hat.
Now, you told me you had a bunch of them, Tammy.
Well, that's true, but I don't have for Renaissance. I have from the
okay.
nights, I have from 1890 on up.
Okay.
So yes, including Jean's blue hat. I've got a red and a gold one, but
I
I like the
see.
blue one best.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I might be doing a corset next week.
Okay.
Ooh.
Of course,
Just, yeah, who knows?
Sounds good.
that's going to be fun. Leah, we're
Okay.
sorry you're in San Antonio and you can't come to the brewery, but
Yeah.
maybe another time.
You can always fly up
Okay.
and join us.
Yeah.
So it's going to be in the 60s next week. You can fly up and join us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Anne
Thank
Marie,
you.
Kayla.
Leah, nice to meet you.
You too.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next
All
week.
right.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.